Janet from another planet? Is 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 Janet from another planet?
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Oh, am I muted? Oh, darn it. I missed everything. Thank you so much for putting that little picture out because I didn't even notice. I don't know why that happens. It's like my mic's muted at the beginning of everything, anyways. But the whole thing I was talking about was how SETI is basically set up by regular people that share information. And it's basically, on our money, our tax dollars and donations, unlike other entities that seem to funnel money from everywhere. They don't seem to be doing that. But what I was asking is if anybody knows if X has a profile for SETI, please put it in the chat because I tried to find it. Still no sound. You can't hear me? Interesting. I don't know why. Shoot. The only thing I could think of doing is stepping back. Can you hear me now? Great. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So what I was going to show was over on the SETI channel. I was looking at it, and there was a live stream right here. Beth Johnson and Karen Perez did a live stream about some really cool stuff that they think they found hidden pulsars in the Milky Way. And they did a live stream. And what's so neat is look at this. They have it on Facebook, YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And if you bookmark this website, which I tried to share in my YouTube, but for some reason it said that it wouldn't share it. Maybe it was because it was too long. I don't know. Let me just do this. I'll just say go to www.seti.org. I'll put that in there. So I was trying to share the whole link, and it wouldn't go through. So I don't know what's going on. But X is definitely having problems with my my stuff that I've been trying to post and everything and do live streams over there because it says when I'm setting it up that you might have to go to X and post it. So I don't know if it's working or not on X. If you're on X, say hi or something in the chat so at least I know you're over there. But yeah, SETI is one of the places that I've seen a lot in different movies and blogs. A lot of people have talked about SETI because there's a lot of interesting stuff over there. So I recommend that you bookmark SETI and go and check them out. If you're on Facebook, follow them. If you're on YouTube, follow them. Or if you're on LinkedIn, follow them. They seem pretty active. They seem like they're doing quite a few things with their organization. So if you get a chance, I would appreciate if you would just, check them out because, they deserve it. They work really hard at trying to make sure that, everyday people can see what they're doing and what's going on with them and showing you things that they're looking into. But this first thing I want to pull up, I thought was pretty interesting because it says NATO knows of 12 alien species and says they have been here for thousands of years. So, and you know what? I believe it. We have so much uncharted wilderness and oceans that, we can't even get to the bottom of it. So if they're way advanced, then they would be able to hide in the ocean and we wouldn't even know they're there because maybe water really is very rare when it comes to planets. And the only way water gets to anyone is if it leaves one planet to go to another one, like with the ice comet, things like that. So I think it's very interesting. And just because we have, shifting polar, ice caps and things like that doesn't mean necessarily that it's evaporating into outer space or anything like that. It's just moving. It's moving around our planet because our crust moves. So we don't know a lot about our own planet. But I think this is interesting. So I was going to play this, gentleman, and let you listen to it for yourself. So I'm going to make this bigger. And let's see, I'll turn it up a little bit. Come on. There we go. Here we go.
We can safely say that, yes, there were some captured craft from 1945 or 47, was it? In Roswell, New Mexico. And yeah, they were real. And yes, we really did get some technology from them. And yes, we really did put it to work. And we can thank people in the United States Army to have the foresight to put these into industry for the benefit of the people of the world. I know this to be a fact. We put it to use, but it took us a long time to figure out what it was and then figure out how we can use it and then what to use it for. And are those products useful for humanity? It wasn't until actually later on in the 80s and 90s, this recent, when I founded a company called Light City Technologies. It was a technology development corporation of a secret nature. We work with data signals, avionics, computer. And as I had talked with you before, we knew each other from certain agencies of the military in contract with the CIA or other branches of usually called unseen industry. I would say that's a good term. We can term it black, deep black, or hidden. And okay, that might be okay for the popular, but having participated in it, and we still do once in a while on contract, because we might get something useful that can save lives and save money as well. For everybody, not just this country. The question that there is advanced, some people call them advanced races. Well, the knowledge that I have of these technologies coming with the aircraft or the craft that were captured here, I didn't see the craft, nor did I see the bodies, but I certainly know some of the people that did. And of course, they're passed on now from their earthly bodies, but there was no question that there are people or beings from outside the planet that have lived here for a long time. And it isn't just something new that's been happening in the last couple of years. There's been NATO research conducted, joint research, joint meaning many different countries. And this, it's been documented as to who those races are and their population at that time. And this was back in the early 60s. This is when what precipitated the need for our aircraft was the result of these reports coming out from NATO. These reports were started in the late 50s. They were finished in the early 60s and disseminated to the appropriate leaders of various countries, I think, but they were kept under lock and key, if you will. And the prominence or the greater exposure or greater occurrence of unidentified flying objects became, the objects became more known. And they actually stopped. They would communicate. We have records from 1954 that were meetings between our own leaders of this country, as well as a meeting with the leaders of our country here in California. And as I understand it from the written documentation, that we were asked if we would allow them to be here and do research. And the statement I have read was that, well, how can we stop you? You're so advanced. And I will say by this camera and this sound that it was President Eisenhower that had this meeting. And it was on film, sort of like what we're doing now. Bringing it up to date, their NATO report gave that there were 12 races, and that the final summary, they had to have contacts to go to these races in order to understand who they are what they're doing and what they could do. And they didn't get into the context, but it certainly did verify that they haven't been here for just a few years, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And this was written in the text. Getting back to the technology that we might have used, the chips, the lasers, the night vision, the what we call bulletproof vests, and a few others. These were all used. These were all developed. The chips, what they call the central processing units, were developed in great strides. Now, why did that happen? Why you put a few things together and do a bit of research, you think, wow, boy, we did benefit. And in several talks, these people, it wasn't because they were necessarily sharing the technology, it's because we picked it up and put it into what's called the file cabinet. And we ascertain, like, oh, are these people safe? Are these people that have come in out from outside, are they hostile? Well, if they were hostile, my own knowledge is and feeling, I don't know about all of them, is that we could have been with their weaponry, as it might be used, it could have destroyed us a long time ago, or it could have done some.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But a comment that you made earlier, Lloyd Christmas, about the that you don't think water is rare. I do. I think the water that's on our planet is rare compared to what water substances there are on other planets. The thing is, and I don't think life is as rare as we think it might be, simply because just because we have a planet with a sun and we have planets that revolve around the sun doesn't mean other planets can't have life on it, just depending on how far away it is from their sun. And I just think it's interesting. I cannot wait, hopefully in my lifetime, to find out more about the different life that they find in different planets. And just because it isn't like ours doesn't mean it isn't intelligent. I mean, look how intelligent we've already figured out our whales and our dolphins and our apes and other animals on our planet, how smart they are using tools. Even crows use tools. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're humanoid like us. But it would be interesting to find it, even if it's microbes, that proves that life can exist on another planet. Because I do believe there might have been life, most likely life on Mars. And what happened to Mars? Was it because it was too close to the sun for the type of life that was on it? Did they leave and go somewhere else? Did we go to war with Mars? Who knows? That's why I think all of this this studying of other planets and finding out information about outer space is important to our own life on our planet. And I love movies that talk about going out into the galaxies and us interacting with other, people from other planets, from other, solar systems. I just think it's really great, and it opens up the imagination for new young people that might want to be an astronaut or a physicist or something like that, that's interested in finding out those things. And if we don't spark young minds, it's just going to dry up and blow away. And just because we have AI doesn't mean we don't need minds to go past what AI can possibly do, because AI can only do what it's told to, right? It can learn, but it doesn't learn very well. I've tried different experiments by talking to AI, asking it questions to find certain music, and I'd give it a couple lines from a song, and it would search and search and come back with all this stuff and not be able to find it. A simple task like that. So it may be very smart in some areas, but in other areas it's really stupid. And a human can outthink it. I really do think that if you had the right people humans can outthink AI. So, but we'll find out, won't we? Each day, as the AI gets bigger and bigger, we will find out about it. But I just thought that was very interesting to find out that there is life that came to our planet, and we have technology from it. My father told me stories about GPS and other things that it was. We had the technology for a very, very long time, and that once we advance it to a certain degree, the military wise, then they will sell off parts of it and for the people. Once they realize that, other countries are going to figure it out, things like that, that it's no longer, something you have to keep under wraps, 100% secret, and they can make money from it. So I really do believe all that because my father told me about it. And then I did have one experience myself where I felt I saw someone from outer space, myself, an alien. And I think a lot of us have seen something, that we believe was an encounter of some sort. So it's very interesting, but you never know. But you just don't know unless you seek out other people that are interested in these things. Then you'll learn more because you get to listen from other people and how different their experience might be than yours, So I don't know. I just really wish more people were interested in learning about things like that. But here we go. Let's see. What's this other thing I found? I thought was pretty interesting myself. Right here. Just because you see something in the sky that looks alien doesn't mean it necessarily is. Because I do believe, just like he was saying in the video before from NATO, that we have technology and we have people, I think, that are smart enough to take technology that they might have found and add to it or simplify it or tweak it enough to make it better than what it was, or make it worse, if you know what I mean, by being able to use it as a weapon. So I don't know. I just think it's very interesting. And some of these people that do come forward, they make them look like they're a bunch of nuts, like that movie with Mel Gibson. I think it was called Conspiracy Theorist or something like that. But that's what they tried to do with him. They tried to make him look like some kind of nut. And so no one listened to him. The same thing they did with all the Epstein victims, when they were talking about being probed or they were doing scientific experiments on them and different things like that. And who was there doing certain things to them? Nobody wanted to listen to them. So a lot of them were depressed and started drinking or doing drugs or different things like that. So, and that added to their people that were saying they were full of crap. Less people would believe them. So it's nice to know that there are people that do still try to get to the bottom of things and find out as much as they can. And when they do find things, make videos and do streams and talk about it and share pictures and try to, do documentaries or even write a screenplay or a book about the experience that they went through. Or someone else went through it and they got to interview them and write something. I just think that is, that's the future of our lives, basically, is what other people document. You know what I mean? If we just had to go by whatever somebody's told us, it's going to be hard for us to believe anything. But because our ancestors carved things in rock, wrote scrolls, and then once we started getting the technology to film things and record voices, things like that. Look how much stuff we've been able to accomplish and collect to share the data with other people and other countries doing the same thing, evolving in the same manners. So I just think it's wonderful. I think technology is awesome. And I think it can really help people if we choose to use it to help and to learn from instead of trying to, use it to take over the world or empower some and then hurt the most. You know what I mean? That type of thing. I hope that we can somehow get past that. Hello, Bone. Haven't seen you in a long time. Thank you for stopping in. I better say hi to everybody in the chat real quick. Let's say hi to Kronos. Thank you, Lloyd Christmas. Let's see who else. I saw a few others in here. Oh, Hardwick, Bartholomew, thank you for stopping in. I really appreciate it. And let's see. I thought I saw Baby Girl say something, but maybe I didn't. Jeff Pearson, thank you for coming in here. I appreciate it. Now that you can hear me. But yeah, I can't believe I had my mic off. That's ridiculous. But let's see who else really quick. Yeah, there she is. Baby Girl. She said hello to everyone. And then Jackie Blue stopped in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you that do talk. So I know that you're in here. Because if you don't say anything, I have no idea you're even, visiting or whatever. But it's all of this. There's so much data out there, and you could spend a whole day just watching documentaries and not even make a dent. One of my favorite shows was the one where the alien, I can't remember the name of it now. I just went blank. It was all about aliens. And there was a guy who had really crazy hair. It was all spiked up. And he would talk about all this alien stuff that they found. I just thought it was a really cool show. Did you see my comment about the Soviet scientists? Yes. Are you going to send me an email? I'll have to go get it, and then I can pull something up. So I did see your post earlier because I shared it. I love your avatar. That's a really good one. That was a great movie too, wasn't it? So let me pull up this next thing I've got here. Let's see. I think it's is it this one? No. All right, here it is. Santino. Yeah, he's this one here. This was awesome. I remember I was watching it on the news while he was on Air Force One, and he was talking about Obama, about aliens and stuff. So President Trump all but confirms Obama's alien bombshell is true, as he chastises the ex-president for spilling classified information. I just thought it was funny, the whole way he handled it. But let me open this real quick and play it for you.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
Well,
he made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to.
Well,
so if you want to make an announcement,
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
we know illegal aliens are real.
Yeah, illegal. Only illegals. What else?
Illegal aliens.
Based on what you've been told, what do you think happened to?
I think it's hilarious. Yeah, he's funny. He is a ham, and he knows how to play a crowd, and it's funny. But yeah, the press really are the worst. I mean, there are a few that are really good at being a journalist, real journalist, and not opinion news or whatever. And then you have the other ones, like they're on The View, that say they're journalists, but they're not. they just spout rhetoric. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a podcaster, a cosplayer that likes to talk about lots of different topics. And that's But I do try to share as much as I can, and I tell people to read it, get into it, read it, watch the videos, and find out for themselves and make your own opinion. Because I think that's real important. The saddest thing I see is people are so, ill-informed. They don't even watch the news once a week. They get all their information from Facebook. That's really sad if you think about it. And it's pitiful. So, and then we wonder why we're in the state we are in all the countries, all the countries that have social media. It seems like, I don't know, it just seems like we are way down on the knowledge board, basically, because we don't take any time out to discuss things with other people and share information. When I was young, I lived on military bases, so we were always having like barbecues outside. We interacted with our neighbors all the time. It was like everyone talked to everyone else. So if something happened, most people knew about it really quickly. It wasn't that we had to wait and see it, 2 months later on the news. It's just that, that's how it was. So I just think it's really cool that we have such great stuff right at our fingertips. And if you want to know something, you can just go look it up. If you have access to the internet or, a good cell service, whatever. See, I have to have the internet because where I live, the service is not good at all. It's really bad. All you have to do is talk to a few people who've been on the phone with me while I'm driving, and it's like it's terrible, especially when you live in a. Oh, you did send me an email. Okay, when I start playing the next video, I'll go and get it and bring it up for everybody so we can share it. But yeah, there's some really, really good stuff out there. It's just that people don't seem to be interested. Definitely not with news. They just don't want to. They don't want to be bothered with it. Oh, it's too depressing, or it's this, that, and the other. They always have a reason why they don't want to be involved. They don't want to vote. They don't want to. They don't want to do anything for the community, and then they complain because the price of gas is too high or the price of rent in their town. And I'm like, well, if you never lift a finger to try to make a difference, then how do you expect it to ever get better? That's what I tell people. And I know I sound like a broken record, but basically that's exactly how I feel. But here's the next thing. Let's see, is this one let me see if I have one that has a video so I can play it and go get. Yeah, here's one. I'll play this one real quick. Okay, here's another one that I found I thought was interesting. I came across my timeline. I follow a bunch of people from all different areas, different knowledges, things that they're interested in, lots of comic book people that are artists, people that sing or write scripts or book writers, cosplayers, people that just like sports. Because I really need to work on that because I'm really don't like sports. I like the Olympics, but that's about it. But maybe I need to, up my game on that part of it. It's just really boring, especially golf. And it's one of the most boring sports there is, I think. But maybe it's just because I've tried to play it. I can't get it. I can't get it to go down the fairway at all. I can putt, but that's about it. I stink. I cannot play golf. So maybe that's one reason why I don't like it. So I don't know. But all right, this gentleman is going, he is going to talk about some things that he's interested in. But it says, according to one of the longest serving journalists in New York Times, multiple sources in the intelligence community have told him that they physically handled non-human craft and that they have seen the biological remains of intelligent non-human life. And I'll share this link in the chat for everyone in YouTube chat. I'm sorry, I can't, keep going back and forth to get it for everyone else. But if you go to YouTube and you watch it, then you can get the link and, just fast forward it to the part where I put the links in. And then you can get the link and then you can watch it, bookmark it and keep it. They haven't set up my StreamYard yet to where I can actually type stuff and it goes to all the different platforms that I'm sharing to. So until they do that, and that's when they ask me for surveys, that's what I say every time. Please fix it to where I can talk to all my viewers, not just the ones on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it because other apps are getting bigger and they deserve to be able to chat and be able to see it, because they're chatting and I can see it come across my little deal in it, but I can't talk back to them unless I speak to them. So I just think it's sad that they haven't been able to fix that yet. But here we go. I'm going to open this up and get this set up here. Let me make sure I turn it up and push play.
So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many accounts from people who say who claim to be in the know. They have intelligence credentials. They say they have seen craft with their own eyes. They put their hands on craft. They have, in some cases, seen alien bodies, but not to the point where we can verify that information. So to answer your question, yes, we've gotten many.
So basically, sorry it took me so long. I was trying to get all that stuff from that Hardwick sent me. I'm going to share his stuff in the links, but I'm going to open his, one of the things that he sent me really quick for you. You see, it's, where is it? There it is. Okay. Right here is one of them. It's the archive of the people that were doing, it's a book called Engineering, what was it? Infinity, that compiles and translates papers from the Soviet scientists, and it's so that to have possibly figured out how to reverse engineer a UFO. Sounds very, very interesting. A lot of it, it looks like it's still in Russian, but I mean, if you're willing to sit down and read some of it, it looks very interesting. I'm going to share he sent me a link to the book, and then this link to this archive. And then there's 2 video interviews with people who found the papers and made the book here. But the videos are on YouTube. And if I try to play them, I'm sure they're going to throw a tantrum over it. I've got 2 videos right now in dispute to have them re-look at it, because I do open my show, every show, with the copyright thing saying that we're going to talk about everything that I bring up, things like that. But, you know, if the person, whoever says it is copyrighted, basically it's probably AI, they don't like it. So I have to, you know, dispute it, and hopefully won't make me take the video down or cut that segment out, which I think it ruins your video. So I might as well not even have it up if they're going to do that. But here is one of the things that he sent me in my email. It came up in 2 different sections because it's so big, but it's the website that I just showed you for that. And then I'm going to share this one. This is the website I showed you right here for the his research information that he did. And then I'm going to share these. It's 2 different websites on YouTube of interviews of people that found the papers, and we're going through them. So it sounds very interesting, and I'm gonna, now that I have them in my notes, I can go watch the 2 videos tomorrow myself. It sounds very interesting, and that's basically how we get more information shared, is by just what just happened. I had someone watching, and they told me they found some cool information about that's been, you know, being looked at, and people have been interviewing them for finding this information, and then try to share it out and get more people to see it. And to me, that's what we're supposed to be doing, sharing information, right? But yeah, I think that was very good. Thank you very much, Hardwick. I appreciate you, you know, doing that. I really do. Okay, now this next one, I think it's this one. No, that's not it. I think this might be it right here. Yeah, here's one. Okay. Nathaniel Gillis believes some people in the government are pushing a false extraterrestrial narrative while they build altars to the entities and engage in rituals and occult practices behind closed doors. See, that's what I'm saying. This is what's so interesting. You get someone who sees a video that you watched, but you see it and you get something from it. And then someone else watches the exact same video and they take something totally different from the video, which is very interesting, because I remember talking to my sisters. I have 4 sisters. When we go to church, and we'd have discussions after church, you know, visit while we were eating dinner or whatever. And it was funny because we would all hear the same sermon, but we'd all take different things from the sermon and see it differently. And my mother would always tell us that was because you took from the sermon what you needed. And that's basically what I think these people are doing. You can have hundreds of people watch a video and all of them take what they feel is interesting or important from the video, whether it's a documentary or it's just somebody's point of view on something, and either lean with the person that said it, or they disagree with most what they say and go look into it for themselves. So what I try to do is I try to listen to the whole thing, and then take notes if I can, and then look up the things I didn't understand or the things that I was more interested in finding out more about. So that's what, you know, I do. But that doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You can do it any way you see fit, because by all of us being ourselves and looking into information, we find more because we dig in so many different directions. And I think that's the most important thing, is to have so many different types of personalities digging into stuff, because then you'll each bring something important out of it. That's what I really do believe. But here we go. I'm going to play his video. So here we go. It's not very long. It's just a little over a minute.
What we're seeing is that there is a carefully curated narrative by our federal government portions to say this is extraterrestrial, there's no there there. And then meanwhile, behind closed doors, a lot of these people are building altars to these entities, calling it extraterrestrial to sell t-shirts, to push the narrative, and then go perform rituals for them to incarnate.
You're talking about people in the government.
In the government. They know this. They know this. This is why Pazuka has said things like this. Okay? Yes, we are aware of the whistleblowers giving testimony at congressional hearings. But there is another group of whistleblowers behind the scenes that are actually briefing people. And their model is much more esoteric, much more spiritual. And they realize that there is a profound occult connection between the phenomenon and what we're seeing.
Scary if you think about it. But that's what I'm saying. You don't know things unless you're willing to listen. If you're willing to go into I've had people invite me to a couple of flat earther spaces, and I kept telling them, no, I don't want to go. And then I started going and just sitting and listening. Now, I don't agree with it. I still don't agree with it. But it's interesting because the way they say the things that they say, they've got so many other people that believe it simply because of the way they speak. And that's what I'm talking about, why one person might be able to run for office and get, hundreds of thousands of people following them. And they may not have as a high IQ or the same notches in their belt as the other person that's running, but because of the way they articulate their words and what certain words they use, it draws people in. So there's a lot of people out there that do that for a living. They give classes on how to speak to get people to listen to you. That doesn't necessarily mean what they're saying is truthful. It just means more people will sit up and be interested in what you have to say because of the way you speak and what words you use. So just be careful. Don't believe everything you hear. Actually research everything as much as you can. Try to get as much information from them as you can, which is really hard because they don't give you very much information. They basically say the same thing over and over, but they say it in different ways. So it seems like they're giving you more, deeper information when they're not really giving you anything. It's very scary that so many people fall into it. I mean, just like with Jim Jones, and then you got the David Koresh, you got all these people, and they're just very good at speaking and getting you to believe what they're saying without actually giving you anything. I don't know how to explain any different than that. So if you have a friend that's going on and on and on about a certain subject that somebody's telling them, maybe it'd be a good idea if you were to go with them and sit down and listen to what they're being told, because you seem to be able to separate, you know what I mean? Not everybody can do it. Not everyone can sit down and listen to somebody and not be sucked in. So I have a friend that wears a rubber band around their wrist. And I've seen this in lots of different TV shows that other people do it too. And every time he feels like he's being sucked into something or someone's giving him a line of crap, he just snaps it. And he says it helps him realize where he is and what's going on. So I've never done it because I just felt very awkward trying to snap a rubber band on my wrist. But it works for some people. But there's other things that you can do. And what I always just think about my mother whenever I feel like somebody's trying to dupe me or spin something on me or whatever, I just think about my mom, and it helps me get back to grounding. I don't know if that makes sense, but I wish more people would do that. Step back and take a deep breath and think about what you're listening to before you just dive in head first, like a lot of these people. Because when you get sucked into other things like that, you might be the one doing all the damage, and the other person's the one that talked you into it by not telling you to go do it, just by making you think it was real. And you take action and they don't. They just stand back and watch you. And then you're the one that goes through all the shit. So actions speak louder than words. A person that does nothing but speak is not a person that you would, I think, follow. You should follow, as my mother always said. If they're not willing to pull their sleeves up and get dirty along with you, they're not a good leader. That's what my mother would always tell me. So I love my mother, and I know she was my mother, but I still think she was one of the smartest people I've ever met in my lifetime. My dad was really smart, and I think he's smart, but I still think my mother had way more common sense than my dad. Maybe I'm a little biased, I guess, but I was a daddy's girl and I was a tomboy. So I adored my dad, but the older I get, the more I realize how smart my mother really was. And she did go to college, things like that, before she got married. But I just wish more people would listen to themselves, listen to your inner self. And when it's trying to tell you, hey, maybe you should back off on this for a little bit, listen to yourself. You got a conscience for a reason. And hopefully it'll keep you out of trouble. It's kept me out of some trouble, I'll tell you that. But yeah, he's very interesting. I'm going to share this really quick. Let me get it for you. I'm going to share it in the chat. Hold on. Because this is a very interesting story. And if you go to his stuff, you will find more of
What
this
we're
interview.
seeing.
Sorry. You'll see more of what he has to say if you're interested. So I had to click on it to get the link. I'm sorry. Here we go. We'll put it on there. Yeah, your grandparents were smart. I believe you. It's why I think that they were way smarter is the fact they didn't have this. They got their knowledge from reading books and maybe watching a little bit of TV or whatever, that type of thing. But most of theirs was hands-on knowledge. They learned by doing. And I wish more of us learned by doing. That's why I love crafting and sewing and cooking and, raising chickens and gardening. I do as much as I can because I want to know how to do stuff. And I want to be able to take care of myself if I ever comes down to it, or I have to do it by myself, like hunting and fishing, changing a tire on your car. It's shocking how many people can't do that. You'll be driving out somewhere in the boonies and you get a flat. And you think you can just sit there and wait till someone comes and helps you. I've been on the side of the interstate going to New Orleans and sat there for over an hour and nobody stopped, not one person. And I just changed 2 tires by myself because I had a double blowout. Oh, what is this one? Let me see what this is. A spiritual connection with UFOs. Yeah, I can see why they would say that. I mean, if you look at some of the carvings in caves, you see a lot of birds flying, sky drawings. They look like they've got wings, some of these people, because they fly. And maybe they interpreted that if they can fly, they have to be angels or God, some type of gods, things like that. It's just like I said, it's all interpretation by the person who puts it down. So when you read a scroll or anything like that, it's all from the person who wrote the scroll. It's there, unless they were a scribe, writing down what they were told to write. So that's what I'm saying. That's what's really interesting about breaking it all down is if you have a room full of people, this would be a really cool science experiment, I think. Have a room full of people, like 30 people, and they all are listening to a person giving a speech or whatever about a certain topic. And then at the end, when you're finished, go through and collect everyone's notes without them knowing you're going to collect them. See, I wouldn't tell anyone because I'd want to see what they say on their own without them knowing, because when a person knows they're going to have to hand it in or whatever, they tend to try to make it more perfect. They try to make it more of what they think the person that's going to read it wants. But if they're taking notes for themselves because they're going to have a test later or whatever you tell them, then you collect it for the experiment and then read them. I think it'd be very interesting to see how many different interpretations of the same speech they just took out of that room. You see what I mean? Because of the people that were listening and what they took, what they grabbed from the story that was being told to them. I just think that would be a really good thing. I wish I was rich so I could do this kind of stuff, but I'm not. But I think that would be a really great experiment. Little things like that, because so many people are so different. And that's what makes one reason why I'm always bragging about America is because we have so many different cultures all living within the same territory. And if you travel, drive across the United States, you will hear so many different accents and see so many different ways of people living. Even in the cities, it's different. The culture is different. The things that they do or think is important is different. The way they speak. It's just wonderful. We are so diverse from one side of the country to the other, up and down, back and forth. We have so much, you know what I mean? I just think it's wonderful. And I have been to a few countries and I've never seen something like this. The whole country is so much like the same, in different places I've been. Here it is not. I mean, my own family, my mother was born and raised in Texas, and my dad was from New York and Nova Scotia. So when they got together, and then when we traveled back and forth to see different sides of the family, it was just so different. Listening, trying to understand what they're saying from both different sides, because one side was very, very Southern and the other was that New England accent. It's just overwhelming sometimes because you it's shocking that we could be so different and all of it within a few days driving distance from each other or flying and not in another country. So I just think it's awesome because I feel like I'm so blessed to live in the United States of America. I really do. Okay, sorry, I got on a rant again, but I can't help it. I just love this country. But and that's another reason why I believe that we get to see a lot of the things that other people are it's hidden from them. A country or the leader of their country doesn't want you to think that aliens are real or that there's no such thing as the devil or there's no such thing as angels. Whatever it is that they don't want you to have, they have the right to stop you from being able to know about it. They can take you off the internet. They can arrest you for hate speech because you said something that they didn't agree with. We don't have that. Hopefully, we'll never have that in this country. But if we're not careful, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, New York sure has changed a lot already in just a matter of a month. So I don't know. What do you think it's going to be like in 2 years? It's kind of scary if you think about it. But okay, well, I'll stop talking about that. Okay, well, this next thing I thought was interesting. I thought you guys would be someone might think it's interesting. I think it is. But here we go. Here, I'll bring it up. I'm going to copy this and paste this in the chat too. It says Eric Davis ready to testify on aliens and UFO crash reveals under oath if Trump signs an executive order that he will reveal a whole bunch of stuff so that he's allowed to talk about it. It says government scientist Dr. Eric Davis drops a bombshell. He's prepared to reveal decades of classified info on alien crash retrievals and reverse engineering programs. Interesting, isn't it? Oh, gives me goosebumps thinking about it because, there's so much that a lot of us have listened to as we grew up, and we had relatives that were really into something, and they tell you stuff, and if they get proven right, it will just make you feel so excited for to know that the things that your aunt, uncle, or your grandparents told you, or even your parents, was real. I just think it would be really cool to find out. Or a movie that you watched, like what was it? Close Encounters. That was a really good movie. There's so many good movies out there. That would be interesting to find out whether or not there was a little bit of truth in any of them. Don't you think that would be really fun or exciting? He said, I would testify before Congress about everything I learned from investigations into legacy UAP crash retrieval and hardware reverse engineering programs dealing with non-human intelligence, because like me, or my friend right here. If President Trump issues an executive order absolving his TSSCI NDAs, so he'd have to sign, he's signed non-disclosure agreements, but he doesn't want to get in trouble for it. But I bet he's really excited about wanting to be able to do it. So that would be neat if Trump would do that. Trump is the kind of person that would, I think, if we had one president that would do something like that, it would be Trump. So wouldn't that be neat? He says he's speaking to movie director James Fox. See, that's interesting. You have all these directors and screenwriters that have made some really neat movies, through the years, like Alien and The Thing. There's a whole bunches of other ones, Close Encounters, like I said, and I'm sure they have others in the works right now that might have a hint here and there because someone they knew or someone they knew, you know what I mean? Wrote a story around something, a story that they were told when they were young, or a friend overheard someone talking, or whatever it is, and they write a story about it. That's what's interesting, and that's why I think so many people really zone in when it comes to certain things, especially when it comes to life from other planets, because I think it's hard to believe anyone with common sense that we on this planet evolved right around our sun on a planet that's this far away from the sun and rotates. And, how could there not be life on other planets? I mean, it's just impossible to think that as far as we can see with telescopes and with our probes and things that we've sent out, that there isn't life somewhere out there. I don't believe it. I think there is. I really do myself. And I'm a Christian, but how could God create just this one planet after he's made all the beautiful cosmos? I just believe there's more that we don't know about. Maybe we're not meant to know about it yet because he didn't feel that we were ready to know, that was a journey for us to figure out. That's why he gave us such a massive brain, and we only use this very small portion of it, and give us so many other things, like intuition and things, love. He gave us love. It's very powerful emotions and things. So I do believe there's more. I really do. And hopefully before I die one day, maybe I'll have some knowledge given to me. That would be really, really, really interesting. But you never know. But I'm going to go down here and play this for you. And hopefully you can hear it. I'm going to turn it up as loud as I can. It's all the way up. You don't have to turn your volume up more, but I've got it as loud as it'll let me have it. Here we go.
We have alien spaceships in our possession. Mm-hmm. We have bodies. Where and why can't I get the specifics to verify those claims?
If the President of the United States issued an executive order that absolves me of all of my TSSCI NDAs. NDAs are non-disclosure agreements. Those are the agreements we have to sign for every compartment in our SCI clearances. So if the president waives or absolves my obligation to those NDAs, and I get subpoenaed by Congress, somebody on Capitol Hill, some committee, either in the Senate or the House or the both, to reveal everything I know that I learned from my investigations, both unclassified and classified, into the legacy UAP, crash retrieval, and hardware reverse engineering and NHI programs, I would do so. If I could be waived from that or absolved in some fashion by presidential order. And if Congress subpoenas me, yes, I would go and tell them everything I know.
I asked them those specific questions because I feel the frustration among the community, among people that have seen, for instance, Dave Grush back in 2023 making these extraordinary claims and not really providing publicly the extraordinary evidence needed to verify those claims. So I'm constantly thinking, as a filmmaker, a documentary filmmaker, how to address those issues. Okay, so you've got someone with all these clearances and you sign NDAs. How do we circumvent that? So I've been asking a lot of people like Eric Davis, would you be willing, provided under the right circumstances, we make a plea to President Trump, whoever the president is, the president of the United States, wave the magic wand, provide immunity, which they can do immediately. Would you testify under oath to a bipartisan group of lawmakers and give the details needed to verify the claims? And they're all saying yes. So let's do it. And if there's nothing to it, then hey, you got nothing to hide.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I would share it. I would be willing to, share that information with as many people as I can possibly get it out to. I would make shorts. I would put it on my different platforms, Rumble and Kick and Instagram and Snapchat and anywhere, TikTok, anywhere I have, a little bit of a following, I would share it because even Truth Social, I'm over there. That's what I would tell them. I'm going to, after this is over, I'm going to go to that and I'm going to post underneath there. Go post it on Truth Social and attach Trump. And he does read it. I mean, if you've watched any of those documentaries with Trump behind the scenes, he's on this stuff a lot. He's on lots of different social media platforms and he watches them. I watched a video this morning of Trump stopping at a gas station and going in and buying some stuff to take on Air Force One. So, and everybody was so excited to see the president show up at a gas station. I'm sure it drove the Secret Service people crazy, but that's Trump. That's just the way he is. But I'm on Instagram too. Yeah, I was just saying that to Kronos, but I think it's great. I think it's a great idea to get people like that gentleman, because I'm sure there's many, many, many people like that are willing to come forward to share this information. Just think about how many relationships, married couples that get divorced because the husband or the wife can't talk about anything that have to do with their jobs. There's lots of relationships like that. I watched a bunch of documentaries about the Green River Killer, the Golden State Killer, all these different murder things about different serial killers. And it wasn't just because of that. The reason I started watching them was because I watched that there was a TV series and it was about these FBI agents that tried to solve all these crimes and catch these serial killers. And after I watched it, I felt, I was like, wow, I really need to try to learn more about these types of jobs and what these people go through. And what was so interesting was the one guy, I wish I could remember his name. I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names. He was interviewing Ted Bundy, trying to catch the Green River Killer. They were trying to catch him, and he went to Florida to interview him. And he asked him, what should I do? What can I do to try to capture this guy? And he said, well, Ted Bundy said in the interview, he said, stake out the next time you find a dead body, stake it out because they'll come back. Because remember, if you know anything about the murders, Ted Bundy went back to the bodies of these women that he killed that were falling apart and brushed their hair and put makeup on them and stuff. It's really sick stuff. But he was thinking, like, what was that movie with I can't remember the name of it now, with Jodie Foster, and she was trying to find the serial killer, and he was killing the women and taking their skin off to try to make them a human skin suit or something like that. So it's the whole thing is hard on a relationship, because when you're in this kind of job where you can't talk about your job to anyone, how stressful that must be. I can see why so many of them start to drink or do, other things that can make their marriage collapse. And it's really sad that their spouse can't help them. You can hug them and you can tell them you love them and stuff, but you can't listen to their problem and let them unload, because they're not allowed to tell you details about something that they're investigating. And the same thing with government jobs and some of these other jobs for these big corporations, where they're working with technology that they're not supposed to share with anyone, because your girlfriend might not really be your girlfriend, or your wife might be sneaking around recording you or whatever. It's sad to have to live in a life where you can't trust anyone. How horrible is that? It's just sad, and it makes me wish that we had ways of letting sooner or later that these people can, get some of this stuff off their chest, especially if it's going to help other people realize that they're not crazy, that they did see something, or they did get abducted when they were a kid, any of this stuff. If it can help other people, I think it'd be a wonderful thing. But we won't know unless we can get someone like President Trump to do something about it, because he's willing to sign an executive order to make it where people like that can, get stuff off their chest, share information. But not everyone's going to get it. But this was another one I found. Now, it's just a website, but I'm going to share the link. It's from the Daily Mail, and it says declassified UFO files reveal giant glowing sphere over a military base that's been hidden for 35 years. It's a very long article, but it has some maps on here and stuff. It's really, really detailed, and a lot of schematics about, the movement that they got from it, because of the ground shaking and everything. There's a lot of stuff on here, and it's very, very interesting. And I wanted to share that, but I'm going to copy this link, and I'm going to share it with you, because I think it's very juicy for anyone who wants to get, some kind of, something to dig in on. It's very fun. This is a very good article to read. And there's lots of other stuff on there, and other links on that website for you to dig into, if you're one of those people that likes to probe and dig around to find out other information. So let me stop sharing that. So hold on. Okay, let's see. I know, can't help it. I'm really, hopefully, I feel like I've gotten a little better. I'm not really, really good, but I think this is the one. Nope, this is the email. Sorry about that. Close that. Well, the last one on here that I already shared it is the gentleman talking about he thinks that it has to do with people believing in the devil, and that they rather make you think it's this guy right here, it looks like that, or like me, than that they're somebody real tall with horns and a tail that they're worshiping, and that's what the sacrifices are for. And I've heard many of those stories that when you see these animals that have been carved up, and certain things have been done with their entrails or any of that type of thing, that it's some kind of ritual that they're doing. And it could be, it could be possible. But until somebody comes forward with actual proof to show this, that, or the other. It's always going to be, yeah, everybody pointing at someone else. But I did watch some of the stuff where pilots and stuff were going before Congress and talking about things that they saw that they still cannot explain, that was going faster than their own jets were, things like that they believed was something not from this world because of the way it could move through the air. And they were in, fighter jets or whatever. So I don't know. I tend to lean towards the belief that we aren't alone, that we have been visited, and that some of the technology that we even use today is from visits from someone. And they might not even know exactly where they came from, just because they're, really good at making chips or satellites or whatever else doesn't mean that they spoke, doesn't even mean that they had language. Maybe they did thoughts and they tried to do it with us, but we couldn't understand what they were saying because we weren't advanced enough. So, there are just so many things that we don't have answers for. It's just all in our imagination, because we're hopeful, that maybe something good. And then other people say they don't want to know because more than likely it's going to be a bad thing for us because they'll come and realize how weak we are and just take us over. So, there's two sides to every story. But thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me for a little while tonight. I just thought I'd do something fun since next week I won't be doing anything because I'll be out of my state. I'll be down in Florida visiting relatives, and I did this last year too. It's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone that I haven't seen in a while. But I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I just really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy lives to hang out with me for a little bit. So thank you very much, and you guys have a great night. And tomorrow night I will be doing a Rerun Wednesday. I haven't decided for sure which one I'm going to do yet, but I'll figure out which one I'm going to pick, and then I'll make a post. So if you're following me, so you can get my notifications, then you'll know which one I choose. But it's one that I haven't aired on my channel before. So hope you guys enjoy it. You guys have a great night. Talk to you later.
If you voted for Donald Trump, that means that you stand for everything that is going on in our country right now. That you stand for all these tariffs, that you stand for this mass deportation, that you stand for getting men out of women's sports. I mean, the list goes on and on. You actually stand for this. If you voted for Trump, you actually stand for this. And if you voted for Trump, I just want to say that I love you and thank you so much for saving this country. Have a blessed day.